A wave of anti-ICE protests has struck Los Angeles, transforming peaceful demonstrations into heated clashes, freeway shutdowns, vandalism, and even arson. With the deployment of Marines and National Guard troops, unauthorized by California, many are left asking, how did LA descend into chaos? And what does this mean for civil liberties? Before I go into our report, I must say, since it is my first video concerning anything to do with the new US government and their stance against illegal immigrants. Firstly, this is Click World TV, so we just have to give our honest opinion and be truthful to our own observation and analysis. Firstly, the move that Joe Biden to let in undocumented immigrants into the US was a bad idea, which needs no explanation as to why this is a bad idea. I will insist, though, to explain for clarity. To put it simple, when an op comes in and, for instance, is a part of a sleeper cell, look it up if you have no knowledge of what a sleeper cell is or just someone looking to sabotage or cause harm for being their op. Point is, how can you tell who is who? I said that to say, the government usually have long-term plans, and with the way I am thinking that both Biden and Trump somehow working with the same playbook, at least where it comes to this immigration topic. Hear me out. Who know of the model problem, reaction, solution? Problem being the many undocumented immigrants residing in the U.S., some from the IC as far back as the 70s, 80s and 90s, and maybe even before this time, like back in the 60s. Biden opened borders to further highlight this, which of course caused a reaction from the U.S. citizens saying, why? Even causing more reaction and divide when the immigrants were offered money, housing, and jobs, which caused many citizens to become furious because they don't get a handout, while practical strangers from another place was treated with the utmost hospitality. Then simple, Trump came, and he is implementing the last stage of that problem, reaction, solution, model. I see it, but I seem to be the only one. Why do this, you may ask, Spirit said New World OR, and to do one sweep and get all the many others who was there from the 70s, 80s, and 90s, but now Trump has a reality check. To reiterate the point, I think Biden opening the border was just a bait to fulfill this current plan. Let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, and remember, you heard it here first. This present situation with the Mexican community is only going to make them a bigger target for the U.S. government, and being that big on the radar won't end well. This is America, and I don't see a community of people beating America on American soil. Straight up, it looked to me like Palestine. Whereas a young I used to see the Palestinians throwing stones at the occupying Israeli forces. I doubt things are even done that way anymore, as everyone has pew-pew now, and no patience. I have heard talks in these YouTube streets that it's a psyop, with paid people basically, and then the radicals in the community then joined. Why? If you want to get rid of a group of people, they have the option of making them look bad like 9/11, and then you can enact your solution. I am not sure as to if this is true anyway. For entertainment and educational purposes, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the thumbs up as I go further into this report. What sparked the protests? The flashpoint came on June 6th, when ICE executed coordinated raids across LA, targeting undocumented workers including at Westlake, downtown, and South LA, leading to over 100 arrests. Enforced warrants disrupted communities, prompting crowds to form outside the federal building and detention centers that evening. By June 7th to 8th, protests spread from downtown to suburbs like Paramount and Compton as more raids occurred. Escalation and visible unrest. On June 8th, the third night of protests, activists clogged the 101 freeway, turning it into a tinderbox of confrontation. Demonstrators set ablaze 5 autonomous Waymo vehicles in downtown, an act signaling sharp anger, while others hurled bricks, bottles, even mined concrete slabs at officers. At times, officers fired rubber munitions and pepper-filled rounds, a scene captured on CBS as tear gas and flashbangs lit up intersections. Rioters torching vehicles, erecting barricades with street debris and targeted graffiti, including on police HQ and courthouses, marked a significant shift from protest to urban unrest. Police declared unlawful assemblies, made over 50 arrests between Saturday and Monday, some on severe charges like attempted murder with Molotov cocktails, and inflicted minor injuries on at least 5 officers. 3. Federal response. troops on the streets. In a highly controversial move on June 8th, President Trump invoked Title X to federalize the California National Guard, deploying up to 2,000 troops in LA without Governor Newsom's approval. Defense Secretary Hegseth and the White House signaled further escalation, activating 700 Marines from Camp Pendleton, officially to guard federal property amid growing violence. Minneapolis-style militarized response. Federal agents fired gas canisters around federal buildings, prompting dramatic scenes of military vehicles and shield-bearing troops confronting demonstrators. LA Police Chief McDonnell warned the lack of coordination posed serious logistical challenges, noting local forces were blindsided. 4. State and local pushback. Governor Gavin Newsom labeled the federal intervention unconstitutional, purposefully inflammatory, and un-American, filing a lawsuit asserting violation of state authority. Mayor Karen Bass condemned the move, calling LA a tinderbox and branding federalization as overt political provocation. LAUSD superintendent warned icy presence near schools, prompting safety protocols and extra security at graduations, framing federal tactics as intimidation. Other Californians echoed the call. Riverside County Sheriff Chad Bianco criticized Newsom's rhetoric as fueling riots, urging supportive enforcement action. 5. The nitty-gritty. Scenes from the riot images of flames at First and Spring Street, smoke pouring over downtown, protesters in masks wielding Mexican and Mexican-American flags have flooded social media. Protesters threw fireworks and debris at law enforcement. At one point, a church parking lot car was torched, with cement hurled at officers and smoke canisters released in the crowd's direction. Federal authorities noted over 600 less lethal rounds were deployed to manage the hostile crowd. Wild moments described by protest-goers. Some wore stilts. An Australian reporter was struck mid-air by a rubber bullet. 6. Political fallout and broader implications. This is the first deployment of federal troops to California sans governor approval since 1965, and echoes past domestic use of military forces, Rodney King aftermath, civil rights era. National attention split. Democrats, Senator Booker, Chris Murphy, decry the move as theatrical authoritarianism suppressing dissent. Republicans, House Speaker Johnson, Senator Lankford, Sheriff Bianco, argue it's necessary for safety. Analysts worry the threshold for deploying military force against public demonstrations has shifted, potentially chilling constitutional rights. 7. Current status and what comes next. Protests continued into Monday, although the presence of heavy troops seemed to deter further mass violence. Cleanup operations and mutual aid law enforcement efforts resumed, even as federal lawsuits and political warfare intensified. Questions linger. Will court rulings limit federal troop deployment? Will continued ICE raids spark similar scenes elsewhere in California or in other states? Closing/takeaway. LA's anti-ICE unrest illustrates a deep fracture. Communities reacting to perceived federal overreach, federal authorities responding with unprecedented military force, and local leaders caught, some scripting lawsuits, others appealing for calm. This episode raises urgent questions. What limits should be placed on troop use in civilian protests? And in the struggle to reform immigration enforcement, where does peaceful dissent end and violent rebellion begin?
By my head. Yeah, Yeah, careful, bro.
Guns are drawn.